Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Thank you for that kind of introduction, Sir Mark. Uh, so everyone, good morning. I'm Rudy of the Chemicals and Energy Division of the OST ITDI. So Science Research Analyst po ako ng Pharmaceutical Section. For today's webinar, I would be discussing about the overview of quality management for personal care products. So narinig ko nga kanina yung expectations na sinasabi ni Sir Mark. So this is actually gauged on or focusing on mga manufacturers na wala pang facility or at the very least starting to gear up to produce a larger scale of volume for their products. So pwede rin to sa may mga products na gusto nilang i-develop para i-release sa market. So this is actually a very basic quality management discussion. So nabanggit kanina ni Sir Mark, merong QA and QC specialist na dito. So I don't think this would be I don't think this would be very ano bang tamang term? Ha? I don't think this would give you more insight sa field na ginagalawan mo ngayon. So this is geared on yung mga magsisimula mag-business, gustong mag-start ng business. Okay, so to introduce or kung sino man yung may gusto na matuto about quality management. Okay? So let's go ahead and start sa ating webinar. So my objectives for today's webinar is first, discuss the importance of quality management in personal care products. The second is to differentiate and define quality assurance and quality control. And lastly, how do we apply quality management sa ating production? So first things first, what is quality management? Okay. So quality management or QM is the act of overseeing all activities and tasks needed to maintain a desired level of excellence. So it helps you as a manufacturer to meet safety and quality standards as well as our customers' expectations. So it includes both preventive and corrective measures to ensure the consistency of our products. And it requires all stakeholders to work together to improve our processes, products, and services. Now, when it comes to quality management, lagi tayo may naririnig, no? Especially when it comes to production. So, merong dalawa yan. So, one is quality assurance and one is quality control. So, ano nga ba yung let's differentiate quality assurance and quality control. So, quality assurance, this is the proactive approach of quality which focuses on preventing the defects at the process level. So bago tayo magsimula ng production, nandyan si quality assurance, nandyan yung ating SOPs, nandyan yung ating mga work instructions, nandyan yung ating quality manuals to ensure na meron tayong proper guide to produce quality products. So whereas yung ating quality control, ito naman yung ating reactive approach of quality which works by finding the defects of the products itself. So kung familiar kayo sa production, kunyari nag-produce tayo ng 100,000 units ng isang product, kumukuha tayo dyan ng konting sample. So dito tayo, nagka-quality control, chine-check natin yung sinet nating parameters kung nagko-comply ba yung mga products natin doon. So mamaya we'll go ahead and discuss this further. So to further differentiate the two, okay? So nabanggit natin kanina, quality assurance is proactive and process-oriented. So it requires training of the whole stakeholders. So lahat ng stakeholders natin dapat nag-undergo ng quality assurance training. So quality assurance, make sure that we always improve our processes and madugo po si quality assurance sa documentation. Dapat lahat ng ginagawa natin sa ating production is properly documented. And as I mentioned earlier, quality assurance takes the full team to ensure that we produce quality products. So, sa kabilang banda naman, si quality control, nabanggit natin kanina, it is reactive, meaning dun tayo sa product, nagpo-focus. So, we do that by inspecting and looking for defects. So nabanggit natin kanina na nag-sample tayo ng products natin to undergo quality control. So unlike sa quality assurance na lahat ay involved to ensure that we produce quality products, sa quality control, may dedicated personnel lang na nagpo-focus dito sa quality control. So mamaya we'll go ahead and discuss further yung sa personnel. Okay, so despite the differences between quality assurance and quality control, we actually just focus on one goal. So quality assurance and quality control under the quality management helps improve our processes and procedures by optimizing the use of existing resources, by increasing efficiency and reducing costs, and then therefore producing high quality products and gaining our customers' trust. So sana malinaw sa inyo ang quality management. So let's go ahead and dive deeper sa quality assurance. So quality assurance, madaming quality assurance kasi na madaming concepts of quality assurance. Pero for this particular lecture, we'll try to narrow it down. Okay, so first sa quality assurance natin, meron tayong quality management system, which is the ISO 9001. Meron din tayong ISO 22716, which is the GMP for cosmetics. But for this particular lecture, we're just going to focus on good manufacturing practices. So particularly, the ASEAN GMP. So, sir, baka magtaka kayo, bakit ASEAN GMP ang i-discuss natin? Bakit hindi yung ating local GMP? So, ASEAN GMP ang i-discuss natin kasi our local FDA actually adopted ASEAN GMP. So, mas okay na rin na gamitin natin yung international standards para kung sakaling mag-decide kayo na mag-import sa ASEAN countries, madali na lang tayo mga kalusot kasi ang sinunod natin na guidelines is the ASEAN GMP. Okay, so there are a lot of factors sa quality assurance according to the ASEAN GMP. So meron tayong 11 factors pagdating sa quality assurance. Okay, so before we discuss those things, we'll just go ahead and try to let's go ahead and watch some clips. Meron ako ditong pinrepare, binalita siya, and some cuttings from the FDA themselves.
Estado ang pagawaan ng umano'y mga peking sabon. Sa Laguna po yan. Hindi na nga autorisado, dugyot pa raw ang mga gamit sa paggawa ng mga produkto. Yan ang eksklusibong tinutukan ni John Consulta. Ano para isipto ha?
Sa bisa ng search warrant, ni-raid ng mga ahente ng NBI, NCR at mga tauhan ng Food and Drug Administration o FDA ang 5 target area sa Binyan, Santa Rosa at Cabuyao sa Laguna. Doon tumambad sa mga ahente ang sangkaterbang counterfeit umanong sabon, dishwashing products, detergents at fabric conditioners. Agaw pansin din ang dugyot na gawaan ng mga sabon mula sa kinakalawang na equipment, maruming nalagyan at hindi sanitized na work area.
So may mga report na tayo nare-receive na may mga naglipa ng ganito mga produkto. So minabuti nating mag-conduct ng surveillance, test by, napag-alaman natin na hindi ito registered at hindi pa ito na-test.
Ayon sa NBI, kadalasang ibinibenta ang mga counterfeit products na ito sa mga naglalako sa kalsada o di kaya online. Aabot sa tinatayang 30 million pesos ang halaga ng mga nakumpiskang counterfeit na produkto. Kabilang dyan ang ilang produkto na nakalagay pa sa mga drum.
Ang concern namin dito ay public health. Marami kasing nagrereklamo na gumagamit ng mga nasabing produkto na nagkakaproblema sa kanilang balat, kaya agad naming inaksyonan ito. Pag masyadong mura ang presyo nito sa market, magduda na tayo. So imbis na makatipid, baka mas mapamahal pa tayo sa paggamit ng mga produktong ito.
Sinisikap pa rin namin makuha ang panig ng mga may-ari ng mga bahay na ni-raid na sasampa ng reklamong paglabag sa FDA Act. John Consulta, nakatutok, 24 oras.
Ayan, so kung malabo ang reception ng video, so basically may ni-raid ang NBI around Laguna with the help of the FDA. So meron silang nahuli na mga unregistered products. Tapos yung facility nila does not comply with GMP. So basically yun yung gist nung the whole news clip. So ito tayo, move on tayo. Next clip. So si FDA nag-issue ng product recall for a specific lot of isopropyl alcohol. So bakit daw? So based on the laboratory analysis, according to the FDA, meron lang 48.53% of isopropyl alcohol instead of having 70% as labeled. And then, meron siyang presence of methanol. So naharang siya ng FDA kaya product recall. So mamaya we'll go ahead and discuss these things deeper. So meron naman dito, so with the help of the US FDA, the FDA issued a safety alert on the cosmetic product Jergens due to the presence of Pluralibacter jergoviae. So ano nga ba yung Pluralibacter jergoviae? So this is a bacteria which is an opportunistic pathogen. So it's low risk to healthy people, pero it can cause infection for people with weakened immune system. So this is not a product recall, but more on a safety alert. So kung ikaw ay gumagamit ng product nila at mahina ang immune system mo, dapat maging aware ka na itong product nila ay baka makakos ng infection sa'yo. Okay, another clip from the FDA. Public health warning against the purchase and use of an unauthorized hand sanitizer. So ito naman, hindi registered yung kanilang product sa FDA. Okay, so we'll go ahead and discuss these things further. Okay, so one part of the quality assurance of the ASEAN GMP is personnel. So according to ASEAN GMP, your organizational structure should be arranged such that the production head and quality control is headed by different persons. So, dapat din daw, hindi sila responsible to one another. So, kung papansin nyo, gumawa ako ng sample na organizational chart. Si production head, hindi sila nagre-report kay quality control manager. And likewise, si QC manager, hindi nagre-report kay production manager. Bakit? Kasi QC manager and production manager have different roles. So, for production, you manage operations, the equipment, the production itself, the personnel, the production areas, and records. Whereas yung quality control, it implements all quality control procedures such as proving starting materials, intermediates, and finished products. So, kaya hindi dapat siya directly reporting to one another kasi QC approves the release of the products or at least the release of the starting materials. Kapag hindi in-okay ni QC, hindi dapat magpo-produce si production. Okay? Kapag si QC ay nagre-report kay production, baka i-force ni production head si QC na i-release yung product kahit hindi pa natetest kung it conforms to specification. So that's one thing to note about the organizational chart. So dapat si production is not responsible to QC and likewise si QC hindi responsible kay production. So dapat may iba silang pinagre-reportan. Okay, so next, moving forward, the training of all personnel involved in production should be conducted on a continuous basis and assessed periodically. So dapat yung personnel natin na gumagawa sa ating production area, alam kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin. So dapat i-train siya according to your quality manual. So mamaya i-discuss natin kung ano yung quality manual. Also, there should be adequate number of personnel na may knowledge, experience, and skill relevant to their assigned function. So dapat good health din sila and capable of handling the duties assigned to them. So dapat sana yung kasama sa production natin ay hindi sakitin. For example, ikaw ay tasked to produce this particular product, dapat at least 3 sa inyo ay alam kung paano i-produce yung product na yun. Dapat 3 sa inyo alam kung paano i-operate yung equipment na yun. Para kung sakaling umabsent ang isa, may 2 pa rin nakakaalam ng kung paano gawin at kung paano i-operate yung ating machine. So madami pang aspects of quality management under personnel, pero ito lang yung nilagay natin dito kasi ito yung most important parts of the personnel aspect ng GMP. So you could read more about this, hanapin nyo na lang sa ASEAN GMP website. Okay, next factor sa ating GMP is the premises. So the wall and ceiling should be smooth and easy to clean. So yung floors sa processing areas should have a surface that is easy to clean and sanitize. Dapat din daw adequately lit and properly ventilated, appropriate to the operations na gagawin natin. So kung papansin nyo dito, kung nakikita nyo ng malinaw, yung ating ilaw sa ceilings ay actually covered by a panel. So bakit yan? Bakit kailangan may cover yung ating ilaw? Para maiwasan yung accumulation of dust. Kasi kapag yung fluorescent lamp natin, di ba? Kung napapansin nyo sa bahay, nag-accumulate siya ng dust along doon sa taas ng fluorescent lamp. So with GMP, iniiwasan natin yan. Kaya tayo naglalagay ng panel to cover the lights. So dapat may ventilation din. So in this second picture, kung makikita nyo yung flooring, papansin nyo medyo curve. May curve dito sa flooring. So unlike kung mapansin nyo sa bahay natin or the usual offices, ang papansin nyo, naka 90 degrees yung sa wall and floor natin, di ba? So bakit pagka sa production, bakit curve? So this is particularly highlighted by GMP procedures para maiwasan yung accumulation of dust sa corners. Kasi pagka 90 degrees yan, mahirap maalis yung dust, unlike kapag may curve siya. Madali siyang mawalis. So these are things na kino-consider kapag i-approve kayo for certification of GMP. Okay, so dapat din daw, meron tayong measures na tinitake to avoid any contamination from the surrounding environment and from pests. So kung yung production area mo, walang bubong. So that's already a failure to comply with GMP. Dapat ina-isolate natin yung production area natin from any contaminants from outside. Okay, there should also be appropriate changing rooms and facilities. So the toilets should be separated from the production area to prevent product contamination or cross-contamination. So ito example na layout ng premises. Although ito ay hindi necessarily GMP certified floor layout, pero kasi mahirap maghanap online ng floor layout ng GMP facility. So basically kasi, we need to consider yung production process natin. So maganda sana, one way ang ating gagawing facility or floor layout. So from the receiving of the raw materials, dapat, dito yung receiving bay nyo. We receive the raw materials, you test the raw materials, ika-quarantine natin yung raw materials na marireceive natin habang tinitest siya ni QC. So dapat sana, pag ganun ang floor layout natin, one way to prevent cross-contamination. So sa last part, nandito yung ating storage of finished products. So nandito siguro yung production natin, quality control. So one way siya, one way ang production. So iwasan natin yung pabalik. Kunyari, papunta ka dito, bigla kang, ay nakalimutan ako, pabalik ka dito. You increase the risk of product contamination. So there should actually, according to GMP, there should be defined areas wherever possible and applicable. Meron dapat tayong materials receiving and sampling and incoming goods in quarantine. So kasi yung mga incoming goods natin, dapat hindi natin siya agad sinasalang sa production. Kasi itetest pa dapat yan ni QC. So habang tinetest ni QC, dapat naka-quarantine yung ating starting materials. So meron dapat tayong separate room also for weighing ng ating raw materials bago natin siya i-process. Also, the processing room should be in a different room, isolated from everything. So bago ka pumasok ng production area, dapat na-weigh mo na lahat ng gagamitin mo for your batch of production. So after production, kung hindi mo pa siya ipapackage, dapat meron kang another room for the storage of your bulk products. Then you have also a separate room for packaging. So after packaging, pwede na bang i-release sa market? Pwede na bang i-release sa ating mga distributors? Hindi pa. Kasi kailangan din natin siyang i-quality control. So after packaging, i-diretso natin siya sa quarantine or storage room ng finished product. So iba pa ang storage room ng finished products sa raw materials. So habang nakastore si finished products, si QC, i-check pa kung nagko-comply ba siya sa specifications. Then once you receive the go signal from QC, then you go ahead and release the product. So you have to put into consideration your production process sa paggawa ng floor layout. Okay, so once again, mas madaming detailed na guidelines si ASEAN GMP, you can go ahead and check that. Okay, so when it comes to equipment, this is another factor sa ating GMP. The weighing, measuring, testing, and all the equipment should be serviced and calibrated regularly. All records should be maintained. So actually sa GMP, dapat lahat ng bagay na ginagawa mo ay naka-record. So equipment should be located to avoid congestion and should be properly identified to assure that products do not become admixed or confused with one another. So for example, meron kang tatlong mixing equipment. Parehong unit, parehong design, parehong kulay. So dapat may label yan na mixing equipment 1, mixing equipment 2, mixing equipment 3. Para yung gumagawa, kapag may add na product, hindi siya ma-confuse with kung ilalagay niya ba sa 2 or sa 3 or sa 1. So dapat naka-properly label din ang ating equipment. So also another aspect sa equipments natin, your equipment surfaces coming into contact with any in-process material should not react with or absorb the materials being processed. So basically, ano nga ba dapat ang gagamitin nating material? So sa lab, kapag mga small scale production, glass ang ginagamit natin kasi ito ang pinakamagandang material na gagamitin kasi hindi siya nagre-react sa ating mga materials. However, sa production, iniiwasan natin ang paggamit ng glass kasi nga nababasag siya. So it could it introduces hazard to our production stock. So gumagamit tayo ng stainless steel. So pinakamaganda ay stainless steel. Pero kapag stainless steel kasi may dalawang types ng stainless steel. So we have stainless steel 304. We also have stainless steel 316. So you should also consider in choosing the material for your equipment. So 316 is more resistant to corrosion kapag gumagamit tayo ng high pH product. So kapag magpo-produce ka ng mataas ang pH, baka dapat i-consider mo si stainless steel 316. Pero kung medyo neutral naman ang pH ng ating products, pwede na tayo kay stainless steel 304. Okay, so one aspect din ng equipments natin, it should not adversely affect the product through leaking valves, lubricant drips, and through inappropriate modifications or adaptations. So also, equipment should be easily cleaned. So dapat malinis ang ating equipment kasi i-check yan before and after production. Okay, so speaking of equipment, that equipments should be easily cleaned, one aspect is sanitation and hygiene. When it comes to sanitation, vacuum or wet cleaning methods are preferred. So vacuuming for powders, wet methods using soap and water are preferred according to the ASEAN GMP. So yung compressed air daw and brushes should be used with care and avoided if possible. Kasi they increase the risk of product contamination. Kasi kapag powders ang ginagamit natin, tapos gagamitan natin ng compressed air brushes, saan siya mapupunta? Mapupunta siya sa air, then mag-settle down kung saang mang area. So baka makapag-contaminate yon ng ating production process. So also hygiene, smoking, eating, drinking are not permitted sa production area. So also dahil ito ay GMP, we should have a standard operating procedure for cleaning and sanitizing our major machines. Okay, when it comes to hygiene, all authorized personnel entering the production should practice personal hygiene, including proper attire. So dapat may proper PPEs tayo, naghuhugas tayo ng kamay bago pumasok at paglalabas ng production area. So dapat naka-PPE habang nagpo-production. This does not only protect the worker, it also protects your product from cross-contamination. So those are some of the important aspects of sanitation and hygiene sa ating GMP. Now we move on to the production area. So all starting materials should be approved according to specification. So dito yung sinasabi ko kanina, na kapag may na-receive kayong raw materials, dapat i-approve muna siya ni QC for production. Hindi pwedeng gagamitin nyo agad for production ang mga nare-receive na raw materials. Okay? So mamaya we'll dive deeper sa quality control kung bakit ba natin ginagawa ito. Okay? Since ito ay GMP, lahat ng manufacturing procedures should be carried out according to written procedures. Meron tayong work instructions dito na dapat susundin ng workers natin. So this does not only ensure quality, but this also ensures consistent products every time. So pagka sinabing mix mo for 15 minutes at 400 RPM, wag mong gagawing 600 RPM at 10 minutes. So dapat sundin natin yung written procedures. So during production, meron tayong in-process quality control. So dapat kine-carry out natin yan properly and also recorded. So yung mga raw materials na hindi nagko-comply sa specification should be segregated and disposed according to our SOPs. So for example, naka-receive ka na raw material na kulay white. Pero according to your specifications, dapat color brown siya. So do you use that for production? No. Dapat i-segregate natin siya following our SOPs. So kung ibabalik nyo ba siya sa supplier or i-dispose nyo ba, that should be according to your SOPs. So also all deliveries of raw materials and packaging materials should be verified and checked for their conformity to specification. So mamaya we'll go ahead and dive deeper dyan sa ating quality control. Next part of production, weighing should be carried out in the defined areas using calibrated equipment. So nabanggit ko nga kanina, weighing should be performed sa separate area. Okay? Dapat calibrated din ng ating equipment. Sa amin, yearly namin kinakalibrate ang equipment namin. Bakit important ang calibration? Kasi nakalagay sa SOP mo, weigh 200 grams of this chemical. Pero gumagamit ka ng uncalibrated equipment. Hindi natin sure kung 200 nga ba talaga ang natitimbang mo kasi nga hindi siya calibrated. So nagkakaroon ka na ng discrepancies. So sa weighing naman, actually dapat maingat tayo sa weighing. So all weighing and measurement carried out should be recorded and counter-check. So ano yung ibig sabihin ng counter-check? So kunyari ako ang assigned sa weighing ng particular batch na ito. So meron akong kasama that checks kung tama ba yung reading sa timbangan ko. Okay, so ako na main person to carry out the weighing, ililista ko yung timbang. For example, I weighed 5 kilograms, pipirma ako sa tabi, then yung kasama ko, pipirma din siya sa paper. So ibig sabihin, sinecertify niya na tama yung tinimbang ko na 5 kilograms. Okay, there should also be a batch numbering system specific for the product and a particular batch number. This should not be repeated for the same product in order to avoid confusion. Okay, tapos according to the GMP daw, whenever possible, yung batch number should be printed on the immediate and outer container of the product para madali siyang makita. So the records of the batch number should be maintained. Okay, so tingnan natin yung example ng batch number na to. So 2017, I'm assuming this is the year of production. 3 is the month. So March 2017, 01A, 01B, 02A, 03A. So for me, medyo nakakalito yung ganitong batch number. Kasi masyadong magkakadikit yung numbers. So, I'm not sure dun sa quality manual nila, pero for me, makakalito itong ganitong batching. Yung batch number. So, if it were me, gagawa ko ng different batch number, 2017, 0301, or 03 GM for goat milk, or coconut oil, ganyan. Tapos, dapat may appropriate codes din yung scent na ginagamit natin. So, for example, lavender 1. Yung lemongrass scent natin, 2. Patchouli scent is 3. So, bubblegum is 4. So, this would depend on your quality manual. Okay? This is based on, dapat mag-base kayo sa inyo standard operating procedures. Dapat hindi confusing ang ating batch numbers. Okay, so packaging line naman tayo. So this should be inspected for clearance prior to operation. Dapat clean and functional. All materials and products from previous packaging operation should have been removed. So for example, meron tayong packaging line na ginagamit for multiple products. So bago ka mag-package ng product mo, dapat i-ensure mo na wala nang nakakalagay sa packaging line. Okay? Ang pinakamaganda daw, according to the GMP, is the use of closed systems for transfer to avoid, yun nga, yung contamination. So kung gagamit daw kayo ng pipelines for delivery of ingredients, care should be taken to ensure that the systems are easy to clean. Okay? And again, kanina ko pa binabanggit, all finished products should be approved by quality control prior to release. So once you finish the production, once na naka-package na siya and labeled properly, i-store muna natin siya sa finished product storage room. So hihintayin natin ang go signal ni quality control bago natin siya i-release to the public. Now, one aspect of GMP is quality control. Although dito, papahapyawan lang natin siya, mamaya we'll dive deeper. So quality control provides assurance that your products is consistent and is quality appropriate to their intended use. So it ensures that our products contains the correct materials of specified quality and quantity and are manufactured under proper conditions according to our SOPs. So dito pumapasok si QC. Chine-check ni QC kung ikaw ba ay nag-follow kung sinabing 5 kilograms ng chemicals, 5 kilograms nga ba talaga nilagay mo? So i-check ni QC yan. Okay, kung yung mixing ba ay 600 RPM at 15 minutes, dito check po ni QC yan. Okay, so ito yung QC natin. The quality of a product is initially defined by the manufacturer that chooses the features that the product should present. So ikaw si manufacturer, ang gusto mo, ang kulay ng product mo ay blue with a particular shade. So hindi ko alam kung ano yung shading ng kulay, pero for this example, sabihin na lang natin shade number 2. Ay, ganun ba? Hindi ko sure. Tapos, ang pH niya ay nasa pH 5 to 7. So kapag si QC, ang role ni QC ay to check whether yung product na na-produce is indeed a blue shade number 2 and falls within the range of pH 5 to 7. So doon pumapasok si quality control. So proper sampling techniques should be practiced for informed decision-making, whether to accept or reject the product. So sampling lang po ang ginagamit natin dito kasi if you produce 100,000 bottles of your product, hindi mo lahat yun maka-QC. Although pwede, pero sobrang tagal. So we use sampling techniques to check if our batch complies with our specifications. So sa QC ba, ang finished products lang ba ang chine-check natin for compliance? Hindi po. So sa quality control, chine-check natin yung starting materials, yung packaging materials, yung labeling. We also have in-process quality controls. We also have finished product quality control. So madaming aspects po si quality control and we'll dive on deeper on that later. Okay. So ito yung pinaka essence ng quality assurance, which is documentation. So documentation is the key to operating a company in compliance with GMP requirements. So lahat ng documents used by your company should be documented in a systematic manner. So this includes policies and procedures. So when you formulate your policies and procedures, lagi kong sinasabi kapag gumagawa kami ng procedure manual or ng work instructions, dapat should be written in a simple manner that can be understood by your users. So hindi ka dapat gagawa ng policy and procedures na puro highfalutin words na hindi naman naiintindihan ng common user. So dapat yung gagawin mong manual should be understandable ng everyone. So kahit hindi siya trained sa production, dapat naiintindihan niya kung paano gamitin yung manual. Okay, wag tayong gagamit ng mga jargons, heavy jargons na hindi maintindihan ng common folk. Okay, so when it comes to documentation, there are actually 4 tiers of documentation. Yan. So meron tayong quality manual, quality procedures, work instructions, and quality records. So we'll go ahead and differentiate the 4. Okay. The quality manual should define the policy of the company, the organizational structure, functions, responsibilities, procedures, instructions, processes, and resources for implementing the quality management. So, napakadaming sinasabi. So, basically, it is a formal declaration of your company on how it conducts its business with respect to the achievement and assurance of quality. So, it includes appropriate infrastructure encompassing procedures, processes, and resources. So, dapat defined and documented yung ating quality policy statement that states the company's commitment to produce safe and quality products for its customers. So dapat sa quality manual din natin, the senior management should demonstrate commitment to the implementation of the company's quality policy by signing off the policy. Okay, so pipirma yung ating senior management staff. Okay, lahat ng supervisory staff and key personnel shall understand and implement the policy. So itong quality policy na to should be communicated to all the staff of the company and regularly reviewed. So sa ibang companies, once a year na re-review itong quality manual. Once a year, dinidiscuss, inuulit-ulit sa employees as part of their training. Kasama sa GMP training ang pag-discuss ng quality manual. So under the quality manual, we have quality procedures. So these are needed to enable every employee to work individually and collectively to achieve the organization's quality objectives. So the quality procedures should ensure na pina-follow natin, may procedures tayo sa paggawa ng every step of our production. So for example, what do you do when you receive your raw materials? Dapat nasa quality procedure natin naka-indicate kung ano ang dapat gawin natin. Okay? So yun po ang importance of quality procedure. So every step of our process, dapat may quality procedure tayo. Okay. Under the quality procedure, we have the work instructions. These are particular to the tasks of the staff. So these are needed to guide the staff in performing a specific function or task. So it is an easy guide for the operator to confirm each step in executing a task. So dapat daw, according to GMP, the working instruction should describe a step-by-step instruction specific to the process and machine. For example, you have a mixer. So dapat nakalagay dito yung how to properly turn on and properly turn off the machine, how to properly clean the machine, how to maintain the machine, dapat nakalagay sa ating work instruction. So aside from that, you need to specify the tools and direction for the process. Next naman, we have the quality record. So lahat nga, nabanggit ko kanina, lahat ng ginagawa natin ay dapat naka-record. Kasi if you don't have the record, it did not happen. If you don't have the documentation, it did not happen. Kung nagtimbang ka ng 100 kilograms ng chemical pero wala kang documentation, it did not happen. So kung natapos mo yung production pero wala kang batch manufacturing record, it did not happen. Okay? That's according to our GMP. It refers the results as well as charts and data pertaining to activities performed such as inspection, testing, survey, audit, review, etc. So lahat daw ng quality records natin should be legible and clear. Dapat may date, readily identifiable and retrievable, and should be retained for designated period. Okay, dapat protected from damage, light, and deterioration while in storage. Okay, so nabanggit ko kanina yung batch manufacturing record. Bali, ito yung parang birth certificate ng ating product. So sa batch manufacturing record, nandyan lahat ng history ng product natin. Okay, so yung name of product, batch formula, yung process na ginawa, batch number, lahat ng kailangan natin na information nandito sa batch manufacturing record. Anong batch ng raw material ang ginamit, anong test ang ginawa, anong equipment ang ginamit, dapat lahat ng information na yon nasa batch manufacturing record. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead and move forward. So, nabanggit ko na rin kanina, records for each testing, assay result, and release or rejection of starting materials, intermediates, finished product should be maintained. So nabanggit ko nga kanina, nagka-quality control po tayo for every step of production. So dapat lahat ng records doon ay na-maintain. So for you to know more about dito sa documentation process ng ASEAN GMP, basahin po natin yung ASEAN GMP kasi ito yung pinakamahabang part ng good manufacturing practice. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward sa ating next factor for GMP, which is internal audit. So basically, it provides assurance to management that the organization systems are functioning effectively and efficiently. So audits help to identify potential risks and weaknesses in the organization's process and control. So by identifying inefficiencies and wasteful practices, internal audit can help the organization save costs and improve resource allocation. So pag naging internal audit tayo, pwedeng all or part of the quality system ang i-check natin. So ang purpose lang naman ng audits is to improve yung ating existing processes. So frequency of audits depends on the decision of the company. So kunyari, nag-start pa lang kayo ng inyong company, maganda siguro kung mga twice a year ang audit ninyo para every 6 months nag-check kayo ng progress na madali kayong mag-streamline ng inyong operations kasi nakikita nyo agad kung saan kayo may inefficiencies. Pero kung established naman na kayo, kahit once a year audit na lang, should be fine. So, syempre, pag nag-audit tayo, there should be a report after completion of each quality audit. Okay, next aspect of GMP is the storage. So storage should be of sufficient capacity to allow orderly storage of various categories of materials and products. So dapat clean, dry, and well-maintained. So kung may special storage conditions tayo like temperature and humidity, dapat chine-check siya at monitor. So nabanggit ko nga kanina, dapat ang storage area ng raw material and ng quarantine products ay dapat magkaiba to avoid cross-contamination. Okay. So storage areas for quarantine products should be clearly demarcated. So dapat may mga ibang factories na ang ginagawa ay parang may lines sila, ay parang may guardrail around the quarantine products para walang pumawak noon, walang gumalaw kasi ibig sabihin noon ay for QC testing pa sila. So wherever possible, sampling area for starting materials should be provided to prevent contamination. So yung binabanggit ko nga kanina, na yung mga nare-receive yung raw materials ay dapat nakastore lang sa isang area kasi kailangan pa siyang i-test ni QC. Dapat hindi siya i-introduce sa production area hanggat hindi binibigyan ng go signal ni quality control. Hazardous materials should be safely and securely stored. Additionally, records should be maintained showing all receipts and issues of products. And then these issues should observe the principle of stock rotation. So, first in, first out. Okay, dapat lahat ng labels ng products natin should not be altered, tampered, or changed. Right, so those are the important factors sa ating storage. Let's go ahead and move on sa complaints. Now, yung complaints, hindi natin maiiwasan yan kasi once once your product leaves your production area, wala na tayong control sa mga nangyayari. Lalo na kung may external distributors tayo, may third-party sellers tayo, hindi na natin handle yung area na yon. So, you will receive complaints from your customers. So, there should be a person responsible for handling complaints, deciding what measures to take when you receive a complaint. So there should be written procedures describing the action to be taken, including the need to consider a recall in case of a complaint involving a possible product defect. Okay. So yung complaints natin dapat regularly review for an indication of specific or recurring problems. So for example, last year naka-receive ka ng 20 complaints na yung container mo ay nagli-leak. This year, naka-receive ka rin ng 35 complaints sa container mo na nagli-leak din. So, maybe you need to check kung need mo bang palitan yung inyong packaging material. Okay? So, kunyari, may nagreklamo na humahapdi yung balat nila after using your product. So, you should warrant an investigation. So, dapat appropriate follow-up action, possibly including product recall, should be taken after investigation and evaluation of the complaint. So, dapat may proper investigation. So, baka naman allergic lang yung user doon sa inyong ingredient na ginamit. So, does that warrant a recall? I don't think so. So, pero kung multiple people, madaming taong nagrereklamo, you should probably look into that aspect. So dapat, when you receive complaints, dapat you should notify the competent authority, which is the FDA. So to inform them whether you need to issue a product recall or a public safety warning. Okay. So when it comes to product recall, so there should be a person responsible for the execution and coordination of recalls, as well as sufficient personnel to handle all aspects of recalls with the appropriate degree of urgency. So bakit tayo gumagawa ng product recall? Hindi ba malulugi tayo dyan kasi nag-produce tayo ng product, tapos gumastos na tayo sa pag-distribute, nabayaran na nila yung product, mag-i-issue pa tayo ng ang tawag doon? Reimbursement for the expenses that they incurred. So bakit ba kailangan natin ng product recall? So as a manufacturer, it's your responsibility to maintain consumer safety. So dapat yung product na nire-release natin sa market ay safe sa ating consumer. So necessary ang product recalls for unang-una for consumer safety and to maintain the brand trust. Okay? Kung ikaw ay nagmamatigas ang ulo mo na manufacturer na madami na nga nagrereklamo at ayaw pang i-recall ang product mo, magkakaroon ka ng mag-suffer ang reputation ng iyong company. So yung companies dapat should have effective recall management plans to mitigate the negative impact and to ensure swift and transparent actions in addressing the issue. Yan. So very costly ang product recall. So nabanggit ko nga kanina, gumastos ka na ng resources to produce, to distribute the product, tapos i-reimburse pa yung cost of purchase ng client mo, ang customer mo. So how do we prevent product recalls? So ang pinakamagandang preventive measures is rigorous quality control and testing para ma-reduce natin yung likelihood of recalls in the first place. Okay, the primary distribution records should be readily available to the person or responsible for recalls and they should contain sufficient information of distributors. Now, ito yung binabanggit ko kanina. So, kunyari may third-party distributors ka, dapat may list ka ng distributors na yon. Dapat sila rin may list ng kung sino ang pinagbigyan nila ng specific lot or batch number para mas madali at mas efficient ang product recall. So for example, one lot of your product lang ang affected. So for example, lot 01 lang ang affected. Ang gagawin natin ay i-trace natin kung kanino saang area na distribute si lot 1. For example, chinek mo yung distribution record mo na to at nakita mo na yon ay dinistribute ni XYZ distributor. So, saan ba nagdi-distribute ng product si XYZ? I-check mo yon. So, for example, sa region 1 siya nag-distribute ng lot 1, then you should focus your product recall sa region lang na yon. Yan. So, sana na-gets nyo kasi yun ang importance ng documentation for easy retrieval na information in case something happens. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and give examples sa product recall. Ito yung nabanggit ko kanina. So may brand ng isopropyl alcohol na 70% solution ang kiniklaim sa label. Pero nung tinest ni FDA, may 48.53% lang siya. And meron pang methanol. So methanol is very toxic to us humans. Pwedeng mag-cause ng blindness or death. So they issued the product recall for a specific lot of isopropyl alcohol. So lot lang yung affected. So ito nga yung binabanggit ko kanina, dapat madaling matrace kung saan ba na-distribute itong specific lot number na to. Okay, kapag wala kayong record niyan, buong Pilipinas or kung buong distribution areas ang hahalugugin nyo para lang ma-retrieve ang lot number na yan. So if you have the record kung kanino lang na-release ang lot number na yan, mas specific tayo, mas mabilis yung ating product recall. So to give you more insight sa product recall, so IKEA Philippines issues recall of chair product due to injury risks. So also Nestle Philippines recalls infant formula over absent fatty acids. So may madami kahit mga big companies din nagpa-product recall talaga kasi kahit gaano ka-rigorous ang iyong quality control, may nakakalusot at nakakalusot pa din. So kaya nga dapat maganda ang ating documentation system. Okay, P&G Philippines recalls kids food supplement as precautionary measure. So this is an example of a manufacturing company parang preserving their ano bang tamang term? Brand image, no? Kasi ito ay Sangobion, kung hindi ako nagkaayan. Sangobion, parang nangyari to last year. So yung Sangobion kids daw contained ethylene glycol above the allowable limits in raw materials. Yan. So kaya importante ang quality control and yung efficiency ng ating product recall. Yan. So sila, si P&G, hindi na nila hinintay mag-issue ng product recall si FDA. Sila na ang recall for their own on their own volition. Okay, now those are the aspects actually of GMP. Napakadami, 11 factors. This is the compressed kinompress na natin lahat ng important factors ng GMP dito. Pero if you want a more specific and more comprehensive guide, should go ahead and read more on this sa kanilang website. Okay, now it's time to dive deeper sa ating quality control. So nabanggit ko kanina yung ibang aspects ng quality control. The quality of our product is initially defined by the manufacturer that chooses the features that the product should present. So example nga natin kanina, kung ang gusto ko as manufacturer, ang pH na itong product na to ay 5 to 7 at ang shade niya ay blue number 2, dapat ang goal ni QC is to verify if yung defined features ko are in accordance with a set standard by the manufacturer and if it will be maintained during the shelf life of the product. For example, ang declared shelf life ko for my products is 2 years. And ang pH dapat ay 5 to 7 at ang color ay shade number 2. So dapat after 2 years or during the shelf life of my product, during those 2 years, dapat ang pH ko pa rin ay pH 5 to 7 at ang shade ng kulay ko ay blue number 2. Okay, yun ang role ni quality control. So nabanggit ko rin kanina, to ensure quality products, QC should be performed at every stage of production. So from raw materials, yung packaging mo, yung labels mo, during in-process, finished product should undergo QC testing. Okay, mamaya di-discuss natin kung bakit. Okay, so dapat, starting pa lang, high quality raw materials na ang ginagamit natin to ensure the consistency and efficacy of your products. By using consistent and reliable raw materials, it helps you achieve consistent product performance, appearance, sensory attributes, therefore meeting your consumers' expectations. So the QC for raw materials may include physical and chemical parameters. So madaming QC testing na pwede tayong gamitin, such as identity, which could also include spectroscopy or chromatography. Meron din tayong purity tests. Pwede rin tayong microbial contamination. Yung pinakamadali, which is physical parameters, which is color and odor. So yung in-order mong raw material ay dapat brown pero white ang dumating. Yung color niya ay pungent na. So that's one factor of rejecting that batch of raw materials. So meron din tayong density, viscosity, and the like. So this should be based on your quality procedures. Kung anong test ang gagawin natin for a particular raw material. So may mga products kasi tayo na does not require this specific test. Okay, may mga product tayo na ito lang test na pwedeng gamitin. So yun lang dapat ang ating gagawin. So hindi siya general. Dapat may specific test tayo per raw material na gagamitin sa ating production. Okay, so bakit importante na raw materials bakit importante na sa raw materials pa lang i-check na natin ang quality ng ating product. Kasi kapag sa finished product ka mag-check and na-find out mo na hindi nagko-comply sa standard, sa specifications mo, it could have been prevented. So yung cost of production mo could have been minimized. Kasi sa raw materials pa lang, nakita mo na itong particular ingredient na to exceeds the heavy metal content. So instead na gamitin mo pa siya during the production, sa raw material testing pa lang, nalaman mo na hindi na siya fit for production. So this is a cost minimization din. So importante ang pag-test ng raw materials para maiwasan din yung pagkasira ng ating finished products. Kasi kung sa simula pa lang, pangit na ang iyong raw material, anong i-expect natin sa dulo? So pangit pa rin ang mapoproduce nating product. That's why it's important, and I keep on highlighting that we should test our raw materials. Okay, so hindi po enough na trusted supplier ang pinagbibilhan natin. Dapat your role as manufacturer is also to test yung raw materials. Next aspect, yung packaging natin. It's a critical aspect of products that goes beyond mere containment. So it influences your consumer's perception of the product, its quality, and the brand itself. So the main purpose of packaging material quality control is to weed out defective packaging. So may mga defects tayo that could be classified into critical defects, major, and minor defects. Okay? So ang critical defects natin, for example, prevents a package from performing its intended function, which may cause safety hazards in handling, use, or disposal. Major defects, very obvious defects, which may not functionally give a problem. Tapos minor defects naman, minor in nature, but will have an effect on aesthetic appeal. Okay, so to give examples ng ating critical defects. So this is an example of critical defect kasi parang kinikiliti yung leg ng bottle mo, no? So critical defect siya kasi hindi natin masisil na maayos yung bote. Okay, so this would be prone to leakage or mabilis masisira yung ating product kasi na hindi siya closed tight. So this could be an example, on the other hand, of a major defect kasi very obvious yung damage sa ating bottle, although this does not affect yung ating product. Okay, dito naman, this could be considered as a minor defect. For example, yung glass bottles mo, may konting bubbles na nakikita during the forming of the glass. That's an aesthetic issue. So hindi naman na-affect yung ating product. Okay, so who decides the critical, major, and minor defects ng ating container? So kung sino ang manufacturer, kung sino ang gagamit ng bote. So ikaw na manufacturer, dapat i-specify mo, these are my critical defects. Dapat bottle should be closed properly. So kung may defects dito sa mouth ng bottle, dapat that could be classified as a critical defect. Pagka may butas yung bote mo, critical defect kasi nagli-leak yung ating container. So this is based on your quality procedures. Okay, so to give an example para medyo may hands-on tayo. Okay, you are part of the QC staff of Cosmo Cosmetics. So you receive 80,000 bottles for packaging from Wakanda Bottles. Okay, your task as the QC staff is to make a decision whether to release the packaging to production or to return the bottles to the supplier. So, as a QC staff, kaya mo bang i-check yung 80,000 bottles na yan? And dahil ikaw ay sa QC at kailangan ng production ng bote para ma-package na yung product na ginawa nila, dapat mabilis ang iyong pag-check. So, hindi mo kayang kumpletuhin, i-check lahat na 80,000 bottles na yan. So, dito papasok yung proper sampling techniques. So to properly conduct the sampling, we will use the acceptance quality limit tables. This is ISO 2859. So meron silang in-issue na AQL tables. So dito pwede tayong gumamit dito na, pwede natin gamitin to for informed decision making sa ating quality control. So AQL tables, may dalawa yan, table 1 and table 2. So ito yung table 1. So remember, we have 80,000 bottles. We have 80,000 units of bottles. So hanapin lang natin yung number of ordered products. Hanapin lang natin yung 80,000. So it falls within this range, 35,001 to 150,000. Okay, tapos meron tayong general inspection levels, 1, 2, 3. For most consumer goods, general inspection level 2 is acceptable. So titingnan lang natin, inspection level 2, tatapat lang natin sa 35,001 to 150,000. Nagpo-cross sila sa letter N. So, ito yung letter N na to. Ito yung gagamitin natin sa next AQL table. Tandaan natin letter N. Okay, this is table number 2. Okay, so hanapin lang natin yung letter N dito sa AQL table. Pag nakita na natin, ayan. So letter N, number of samples is 500. So yeah, based on AQL table 2, the required samples is 500. So hanapin lang natin yung corresponding letter at yung katabi niyang sample size. So 500. So ibig sabihin, kukuha tayo ng 500 bottles from 80,000. So that makes it more manageable for you as the QC staff. Instead of 80,000, 500 lang ang check natin. However, we still need to determine the limits of acceptance and rejection. So, ang daming number dito. So, paano ko po ma-determine kung alin yung gagamitin ko ditong mga numbers, kung anong gagamitin ko limits. So, meron dito sa taas na AQL %. So, this is predetermined in arrangement between Cosmo Cosmetics and Wakanda Bottles. So, yung dalawang companies, dapat may agreement sila na dapat follow lang natin tong AQL na to for your products na binibili ko. Okay, so balikan natin. Move forward tayo pala. So suppose that your arrangement between Cosmo Cosmetics and Wakanda Bottles is that critical defects is at 0.015%, major is at 0.4%, and minor at 4%. Okay, so sino ang nagde-decide nito? This is within the arrangement of the Cosmo Cosmetics and Wakanda Bottles. Yeah, so titingnan natin yung limits. So critical defects, which is 0.015, tingnan lang natin yung dulo ng arrow. So ibig sabihin, dulo ng arrow, nag-meet sila, ayun. Pero sir, bakit sa letter P? At 800 yung samples, hindi ba ang usapan natin N lang at 500 lang? So this means that kung ano yung next na number, next limits na nasa arrow na to, yun ang gagamitin mo. Gagamitin mong limits. So for example, ayan. So tingnan natin yung arrow, 0 and 1 yung nakalagay dito. So ibig sabihin, we accept kapag kapag 0 ang critical defects, we reject the batch if we have 1 critical defect. Okay? So 0 kapag accept natin yung product na yon kapag walang critical defect. Pagka may isang critical defect, ibabalik natin sa kanila yung product. Okay? Likewise, kapag sa major defect naman, 0.4, tingnan lang natin yung kung saan nag-i-intersect yung N500 at yung 0.4, which is 5 and 6. So, ibig sabihin, may major defect ka na 5, will still accept the batch. Pero kapag 6 na yan, ibabalik ko sa iyo yung entire 80,000. Okay? Same din sa minor defects at 4%. Hanapin lang natin, sir, may arrow. Paano yan? So tingnan natin yung dulo ng arrow. So, hindi ko nakikita. 21. Pagka may 21 minor defects, will still accept your delivery. Pero kapag 22 ang nakita ko sa 500 samples, ibabalik ko sa iyo lahat ng bottles. Okay. So based on the AQL table, ito pala, meron pala tayo dito. For critical defects, kapag sumobra ng isa, kapag 1 or more than 1, ibabalik ko sa iyo yung product. For major defects, greater than 6, reject. For minor defects, greater than 22, reject. So, sir, kung wala akong nakitang critical defect, wala akong nakitang minor defect, pero may major defect ako na 6, i-reject ko ba yung 80,000? Sayang naman. According to our GMP, dapat i-reject natin. Kasi dapat it complies with these 3 factors. Dapat it satisfies all these specifications. Okay, sige. So, as a QC staff, nakakuha ka na ng 500 samples at ito yung parameters na kailangan mong sundin. So suppose from that 500 samples, you found no critical defects, no major defects, but you have 22 minor defects. So what will your decision be as the QC specialist? So having said this, AQL standards. Okay. So as QC specialist, you will reject the packaging material. So bakit? Kasi ang acceptance lang natin for minor defects is kapag greater or equal to 22, i-reject natin siya. So kahit may critical, kahit walang critical, kahit walang minor, kahit walang major, pero naka 22 minor defects ka, rejected ang entire 80,000. Ganun po kapag nagsasampling na kapag isa sa factors na kino-consider sa QC. Okay, so sa packaging pa lang po yan. Meron pa tayo label quality control. So kapag sa label kasi, ito yung nakikita ng ating consumers, ito ang kino-comply natin with our regulatory bodies. So nandito nakalagay yung consumer safety, brand reputation, and effective communication with customers. So it goes hand in hand with product quality control and packaging to create a positive customer experience and promote brand loyalty. So dito sa label quality control, pwede rin nating gamitin yung AQL table. So for example, you're ordering your labels from a third party, pwede nyo rin i-apply yung AQL tables. So again, proper sampling techniques should be practiced for informed decision making. Lalo na si FDA, kasi si FDA, maselan siya sa label. So dapat lahat ng nasa label mo ay kaya mong i-justify. Okay, so moving on from so tapos na tayo sa raw material, sa packaging, sa labeling, we'll move on to the in-process quality control. So nabanggit ko kanina, it allows for the early detection of any defects or deviations from the desired specifications. It serves as a proactive approach to identify and address potential issues, leading to a more efficient, reliable, and successful production process. For example, kanina nabanggit ko sa raw materials natin. Kapag kapangit ang raw materials mo, wag mo na siya i-introduce sa production. Now sir, bakit kailangan pa natin mag-IPQC? Kasi during the processing, baka may ibang ma-introduce sa ating product. Diba? So hindi naman natin, kasi tao pa rin ang gumagawa ng ating product. So there's still a risk for error. So by detecting and addressing potential issues still during production, it helps mitigate risks associated with product quality. So it reduces the likelihood of costly product recalls or legal consequences due to faulty products. So, kagaya sa raw materials, habang hindi pa na, kunyari, nasa step 1 pa lang tayo ng process, mayroon na tayong nakitang deviation, hindi na natin itutuloy. So we're saving money by checking every step of the process. So again, anong IPQC ang kailangan namin gawin para sa aming product? This would be up to your company. So this should be included in your quality procedure. Okay, so by identifying the issues at an early stage, it prevents the production of large quantities of faulty products, reducing waste and production cost. Excuse. Now we move on to the FPQC. It ensures that the products are safe for consumers to use. It verifies that the products do not contain harmful substances, allergens, or contaminants that would cause adverse reactions or harm to users. So FPQC ensures that your products meet the safety and efficacy standards and deliver the desired results to customers. Okay, so mahaba-haba na yun. So, quality control. So only products that meet the set quality standard should be allowed for distribution, ensuring that the products receive, that the customers receive reliable and satisfactory products. So nabanggit ko kanina, hindi pwedeng i-release ang finished product hanggat walang go signal ni QC. So kasi ito ay final gatekeeper that guarantees the products leaving the production line meet the highest standards and align with the brand's promise to its customers. Okay, so sir, ano bang specific test na dapat namin gamitin sa products namin? Baka may set standard na, pwede kami makahingi sa'yo. Actually, specific tests conducted may vary depending on the type of product and its intended use. But here are some common FPQC tests. So one is physical appearance and sensory evaluation. So this involves inspecting the product's appearance, color, texture, and overall sensory attributes. So kanina pa natin binabanggit, no? Ang gusto kong color shade ay color blue number 2. Pero when you perform your FPQC, blue color number 1. So it does not meet your specification. So next, pH testing. So ensures that your product falls within the appropriate range. So medyo maselan po ang pH, lalo na kung personal care products kasi ina-apply natin sa skin natin. So iwasan natin yung sobrang taas na pH, sobrang baba na pH. Ideally, dapat dapat malapit siya sa pH ng skin. Okay? We also have microbial testing. I-test natin yung microbial contamination that can lead to product spoilage or cause skin infections. Stability testing, kasama rin po ito to determine the product shelf life or any changes in the formulation over time. hindi na tayo mag-dive deeper into stability testing kasi medyo technical na yun. Pero basically, ang ginagawa natin sa stability testing is to ensure that over the duration of the shelf life of your product, same pa rin lahat ng attributes niya. So there's a specific test for stability testing. Packaging integrity. So it tests your integrity of packaging to ensure that it can protect your product during transport, storage, and use. So for example, yung packaging na binili mo, okay siya sa production, hindi siya nagli-leak. Pero during transport, pagka natumba siya, pagka nadaganan siya, nasisira agad yung bottle natin. So there are specific tests for packaging integrity. To promote lang hindi ko naman sinasabi na i-avail nyo yung services. Pero to promote lang our packaging technology division, meron silang packaging integrity test. So madaming tests to ensure that your packaging is adequate to protect your products. From the immediate container, from the secondary container, kahit yung mga paleta, tinetest po ni Packaging Technology Division. So you could go ahead and check that sa aming ITDI website. So heavy metal testing. So heavy metal testing checks for presence of toxic heavy metals which are harmful to our consumers. Also, yung label na nilalagay natin, tama ba? Kapag yung label natin, for example, ang ginawa mo ay face cream pero dinikit mo sa lotion, that's already a deviation sa ating quality control. Okay, so dapat lahat ng ingredients list, warnings, usage instructions, claims complies with relevant regulations. Ayan. Okay. So in conclusion, lapit na po tayo matapos. GMP helps protect public health and safety by ensuring that products are manufactured in a way that eliminates or minimizes the risk of contamination, adulteration, or any potential hazards to consumers. So by adhering to GMP guidelines, you as the manufacturer meet regulatory requirements, avoid legal issues, and gain approval for their products in the market. So the reason why ASEAN GMP ang dinidiscuss natin, kasi kapag na-approve ka dito sa FDA at GMP certified ka, pwede kang mag-apply sa ASEAN countries. Mas madali kang ma-approve kasi you are GMP certified by the Philippines. Okay, the use of standardized procedures, quality control, and quality assurance measures throughout the manufacturing process ensures that your products consistently meet the required quality standards and perform as intended. So by implementing GMP practices, it enhances your company's reputation for producing safe and reliable products. So nabanggit ko kanina also, it allows you to participate in global trade and expand your market reach. So it promotes a culture of continuous improvements through audits and ongoing monitoring of manufacturing process. So ito yung para sa akin, ito yung pinaka-importanting effect ng GMP, which is the continuous improvement for me. Kasi hindi lahat ng magagawa nating process and procedures is perfect. There's always room for improvement. So when you practice GMP, you promote a culture of continuous improvement. Okay, by implementing GMP, your company can identify and address potential quality issues before products reach the market. This reduces the likelihood of costly recalls and damage to your brand's reputation. Sa ngayon, ang dapat iniingatan ng inyong company ay yung brand's reputation. So paano maiingatan yan? By producing high quality products. So anong benefit ng GMP kapag kami lang kunyari ako lang na manufacturer ang GMP? Hindi pa dapat wala namang benefit sa akin yun kasi consumers ko lang ang nagbe-benefit. Additional cost ang GMP actually. So actually GMP extend beyond the manufacturer to cover the entire supply chain. Actually lahat ng nasa supply chain ay dapat GMP certified. So including your raw material suppliers and also your distribution partners. So this ensures that all the stakeholders involved sa inyong production, involved in the product's journey, maintain quality and safety standards. So for example, yung inyong binibilhan ng raw material sa GMP, you can be confident na maganda yung and quality yung iyong binibiling raw materials. But then again, you have to test them. You have to perform quality control. Now, kapag yung distribution partner mo, GMP rin, may good GDP, good distribution practice, nagpa-practice sila ng GDP, then you ensure that yung products ay dumadating sa consumers mo ng mabuti. Mabuti ba tamang term nun? O basta maganda pa rin yung product na nare-receive nila, kagaya ng product na pinoproduce mo. So in the end, GMP does not only affect your company, it should affect also yung suppliers and yung distributors mo. So this is my last slide. So thank you everyone for listening for 2 hours, mahigit 2 hours, 5 minutes.